When you look up at the sky, you probably see clouds, maybe the sun, or some rain coming down. But what if I told you that what's really happening up there is, well, it's kind of like a massive invisible war, waged by forces that shape our entire world. So, what is the secret ingredient for a huge storm? Is it just, wind and rain mixed together? Not even close. The real recipe is way more dramatic. It involves these colossal clashes that can stretch for thousands of kilometers. Let's get into what's really going on. You see, the key to understanding pretty much all major weather events isn't what you can see, but what you can't. It all starts with these enormous, invisible armies of air, each with its own unique personality, kind of marching across the globe. And of course, in meteorology, these armies have an actual name: air masses. This is the fundamental building block of, well, everything, from a gentle little shower to a raging cyclone.
Okay, so how does an air mass get its character? Well, just imagine a gigantic bubble of air that's just sitting there over one place for a few weeks, maybe over the icy plains of Canada or the warm Gulf of Mexico. It slowly soaks up the properties of whatever's below it. So if it's over a cold, dry continent, it becomes cold and dry. If it's over a warm ocean, it gets warm and humid. Simple as that.
So, now you have these very distinct armies of air on the move. You've got a cold, dry polar army from the north and a warm, moist tropical army from the south. What do you think happens when they finally meet? Well, that's when the real action begins. That meeting point, it's called a front, and it is the literal battle line in our atmospheric war. This is not some gentle mixing, it's a full-on clash. And it's right along these fronts that nearly all of our significant weather is born. But not all of these battles are the same. It really depends on which army is advancing and how they meet. We actually get 4 different types of fronts, and each one creates very, very different kinds of weather. First up, we've got a warm front. This is where the warm air army is the one advancing. But since warm air is lighter and less dense, it can't just shove the cold air out of the way. Instead, it gently slides up and over it, almost like it's walking up a long, gradual ramp. And this slow, steady rise creates these widespread, layered clouds that often lead to hours of gentle, steady rain. Now, a cold front is basically the complete opposite. Here, the dense, cold air acts like a bulldozer. It just aggressively rams into the warm air and forces it violently upward. This super rapid vertical lift creates these towering storm clouds, leading to sudden, intense downpours, thunderstorms, and really dramatic drops in temperature. And then things get even more interesting with an occluded front. Think of this like a chase scene where a faster-moving cold front actually catches up to and overtakes a slower warm front. It effectively lifts that whole wedge of warm air completely off the ground, just squeezing it upwards. This whole process marks the mature and often the final stage of a big storm system. And finally, there's the stationary front. This is pretty much an atmospheric stalemate. You've got 2 air masses that meet, but neither one has the strength to push the other, so they just sit there, facing off. And this can lead to days and days of overcast, gloomy, and often kind of drizzly weather until one army finally gives way. Okay, so we have these fronts, these epic battle lines. But what happens when all these clashes become organized? What's the ultimate result of this big atmospheric war? Well, that's when you get the birth of a cyclone. So what is the cyclone really? Well, it's essentially the grand result of all these battles. It's a massive, rotating storm system, a huge vortex of air spinning around a center of low pressure. It's basically the atmosphere's way of trying to balance out all those temperature differences created by the colliding air masses. But just like there are different types of fronts, there are different types of cyclones. The 2 major players on the world stage are tropical cyclones and temperate cyclones. And while both are incredibly powerful, they're born from totally different circumstances. Let's really dig into this because it's fascinating. Tropical cyclones, those are the ones we all know as hurricanes or typhoons. They're basically heat engines. They draw their immense power from warm ocean water, and this is what gives them that iconic, almost perfectly symmetrical structure with that calm, clear eye right in the center. Now, temperate cyclones are a completely different beast. They're fueled by the very thing we've been talking about this whole time, the temperature difference between colliding air masses. This makes them these enormous, sprawling systems, sometimes stretching over 3,000 kilometers. Their whole structure is defined by the warm and cold fronts churning inside them. They might be less famous, but they're the ones that bring most of the day-to-day weather to places like North America and Europe. And here's a fun little fact for you. That powerful tropical cyclone we were just talking about, it kind of has an identity crisis depending on where you are in the world. In the Atlantic, we call it a hurricane. Over in the Northwest Pacific, it's a typhoon. Off the coast of Australia, it's called a willy willy, and in parts of Africa, it was historically called a tornado, which is of course totally different from the funnel clouds we see in North America. But really, no matter what you call them, their power is just undeniable. As one of our sources puts it so simply and so starkly, when they move forward destroying all the objects in their path. There's just this raw elemental force to these systems that is both awe-inspiring and, frankly, incredibly destructive. So, the next time you see the clouds gathering, or you feel that sudden shift in the wind, you'll know it's more than just weather. It's the result of these invisible armies clashing in the sky right above you. So the question is, now that you know the signs, what battle do you see playing out today?